Hey everybody, today I decided to do a demonstration video on how to cook one of my favorite meals that I just learned about probably 2 to 3 months ago. It's a venison wine roast, and it's very simple. The ingredients are very easy, so anybody who's maybe not familiar with cooking or does not have a lot of experience, they can do this, and it's a good little introduction to cooking, and it's a great meal that you guys can do. Very little prep work. It's extremely easy. Now let me show you guys some of the ingredients we have here. We got a nice chopped onion, some garlic, and this is 4 pounds of venison meat. If you guys don't like venison, you guys can do pork as well as beef, whatever you guys prefer. We have a red wine right here, salt, pepper to flavor the meat, some potatoes, some fresh rosemary, and some carrots and celery. So what we're going to do first here is we are going to season the pork roast, or not the pork roast, excuse me, the venison roast. And all we're going to do here, a little salt and pepper. What you're going to want to do is get a nice coating of salt and pepper on both sides of this meat. We're going to get that down. And the nice thing about this is that there's not a lot of ingredients, and the reason I like this is because I enjoy the flavor of venison, and it really brings out the flavors. It doesn't mask them like other things would, like if you put, some people like to put cream of mushroom or cream of chicken or something like that onto their stews, which is good. I just, however, like the flavor of the venison meat, while not a lot of people do, and that's all right. Like I said, you can substitute this out with a beef roast as well as a pork roast. It's very durable, and this recipe is super easy, and you can do it with just about any meat you guys want. So now that we have this nice and seasoned, if you guys want, you can let it sit for about a day or two and let those flavors marinate. And let's take this over to the stovetop where we are going to brown it up. And in this pan right here, we just have some butter and some olive oil. And all we're gonna do now is we're gonna turn this up, and we're gonna wanna brown both of these. It'll probably take about 3 to 4 minutes each to get these nice and browned up. And the reason you brown these things is you really wanna get a nice crust on this before you put it in the roast to lock in the flavors. So as that's browning up, we're gonna go back over to here, and I'll give you guys some tips on how to cut up some potatoes. So if you guys want, it all depends on what you guys are feeling. If you like a lot of, like a chunk potato, all you do, cut it like this. You can throw them in just like this. It's totally all right. If you guys want, you can get a little bit more, you get smaller ones and cut them into thirds, something like that. It's really just all up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do. I prefer the smaller ones just because I like to have a little bit more potato in mine, and especially if you're having family over, you can do a little bit more with less, essentially. So you just cut these up. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the meat's starting to sizzle over there. That's what you're going to want. We're going to let that go for a little bit longer, and then we'll go over and check on it and give it a nice little flip. So another thing that we're going to end up cutting up is these carrots. Now, quick tip is you're going to really want to make sure you have your middle finger in front and these 2 fingers behind to guide the knife. You want this middle finger to be a guide for the knife. So all you're going to do, go down, and you're just going to keep moving down the line and cut. This way, you guide the knife, you keep your fingers out of there, and you're not cutting off any thumbs, which you don't want in a roast, because who wants a thumb in their roast? All right, let's go over and check and see how the meat's doing. As you can see, it's sizzling up really nice. We can get the butter around there, get a nice little cook. It's doing good. We're gonna let that sit for a little bit longer. Let me see how I can prop you guys up here. There we go. And all we're gonna do here, get a nice little spatula, get under that, and we're gonna flip it over. And right here, that's all you guys want, right there. It's a perfect little crisp to it. And while that's crisping up, we're gonna get a plate out and set this aside. The next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys a little tip on how to do the garlic. Now, you just peel this off and you're gonna have to skin it. However, a real easy way to do it is you're just gonna, these two edges, you're gonna cut off. 1, 2, and then from there, you should be able to, you'll see it'll start to peel away, and that's all you're gonna want right there, is just to peel that off. And then once this meat over here is brown, we're going to take it off and set it aside over there, and we're gonna get our next piece of meat and throw it right into the pan and get that thing going as well. So here's the finished product of what we're gonna want, a nice brown crisp. This thing is going right now, and it's perfect. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna wait for that to brown up, and we're gonna take these onions and the garlic. I like to leave them whole like this in this recipe. You can do minced garlic. However, I just enjoy, and I think it brings out more flavor if you leave them whole like this. We are going to add these onions and garlic into that pan, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. I found this recipe a couple months ago, like I said earlier, and if you guys don't like cooking, I really think that you guys should maybe look to get into it, especially this winter. You know, we might be on lockdown still. What better way to spend time with some family than to cook up some great meals for everybody. So here's this. You're gonna give this a nice flip again. Boom. And right here you can see it's a little smoky, but that's all right. You get that nice crisp on it. And then once this browns up, like I said, we're gonna take these onions and garlic, throw them into the pan, and let them get nice and translucent. And once those cook down, the onions will get a little bit clear. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this meat right here, and you're gonna put it into the crock pot, and then you're gonna put your onions in there as well. We got some smoke going, that's all right. And like I said, you're gonna throw, once you have everything in here, you with the potatoes, you're gonna throw those in the last hour and a half, because you don't want it to get too mushy. And the red wine you pour in right away. I like to add about 3 to 4 glugs. Oops, sorry about that, guys. I like to add about 3 or 4 glugs to it. Cook it on low for about 5 hours. And that thing will get real nice and tender, and it'll cook down to exactly how you want it. Let's get this last one off here. Boom. Now with that done, let this thing smoke out. That's perfect, that's what you want. Nice and browned on both sides. All right, so like I said, we're gonna come over here, onions and garlic, throw these into this pan right away, cook them down, and then we're gonna pour those onions over this roast, and it's gonna cook in there for about 5 to 6 hours on low, and you guys are gonna have a great winter roast. Thank you guys very much for your time, and I hope you guys enjoy this recipe.